Liz Walker, a quietly determined leader who steps into a seemingly ordinary branch of Fidelity Trust Bank with one goal: to build a place where respect, empathy, and integrity are more than just words on paper. At first, Liz is met with skepticism, resistance, and even quiet hostility from some of her team. But with patience, resilience, and an unshakable belief in the power of people, she slowly begins to turn things around. Along the way, she encounters personal and professional sacrifices, unforeseen obstacles, and moments that test her strength like never before. Yet through it all, Liz doesn't back down, and her story unfolds in surprising ways that ripple through her team, her company, and even her own life. How does Liz go from being a misunderstood newcomer to a leader who leaves a legacy that will inspire generations to come? You'll have to watch to find out. As you join us on this journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. What qualities do you think make a great leader? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And now, let's dive into the story of Liz Walker, a quiet revolutionary who proves that true leadership can change lives. The glass doors of Fidelity Trust Bank gleamed in the morning light, reflecting a city just waking up. Elizabeth Liz Walker took a steadying breath as she approached the entrance, feeling a familiar flutter of nerves. The branch was more imposing than she remembered from her initial visit. An elegant, towering building with the bank's name etched in brass letters above her. Inside, she knew the walls were lined with carefully polished mahogany, and the floors were tiled in cool, gray marble. Everything about the branch projected authority, legacy, and tradition, a place that thrived on consistency and familiarity. Liz adjusted her shoulder bag and stepped inside, greeted by a cool breeze of air conditioning and the faint scent of leather and paper. People moved with purpose around her, the employees dressed in crisp uniforms, the customers mostly in business attire, briefcases in hand or phones pressed to their ears. A few glanced her way, and Liz sensed the faintest hint of curiosity before they quickly looked away, uninterested. Her unassuming outfit, dark jeans, a blazer, and comfortable flats, marked her as an outsider in this world of pressed suits and polished shoes. She allowed herself a small smile. It was better this way, to come in unnoticed. She was here to observe, to understand her new workplace on its own terms, and perhaps even to test how they treated a stranger. Today was, after all, her first day as the newly appointed branch president. But no one here knew that yet, and she wasn't in a hurry to announce it. She wandered toward the counter, where a line of tellers handled transactions with brisk efficiency. Behind the glass partition, she saw a group of staff members huddled, chatting quietly between clients. She caught snippets of their conversation, a light-hearted discussion about the latest office rumor, punctuated by quick glances toward the lobby. At the counter, a young man in a suit looked at her expectantly, clipboard in hand, ready to direct her. But before he could speak, one of the senior tellers noticed her presence. "Good morning," the woman said, a sharp edge to her tone that Liz hadn't anticipated. She was petite, with short blonde hair and a no-nonsense air that hinted at her position in the hierarchy. The gold name tag pinned to her tailored suit read Amelia Lewis, though everyone in the bank called her Amy. "Are you here to open an account?" Amy asked, a faint note of impatience in her voice. She seemed to glance over Liz's outfit, her eyebrows raised ever so slightly, as if sizing her up. Liz met her gaze calmly. "Actually, I'm here to speak with the branch manager." Amy's brows knitted together. "Mr. Grant is quite busy. Do you have an appointment?" "I don't," Liz replied, offering a polite smile. "But I think he'll want to speak with me." Amy gave a curt nod, already looking exasperated, but she stepped away to make the necessary arrangements. Liz waited quietly, noting the wary glances from other staff members as they whispered among themselves. She overheard a few of their murmurs. "Must be lost," one of them muttered. Another stifled a laugh, glancing away when Liz caught her eye. But Liz remained undisturbed, feeling a quiet resolve settle over her. She hadn't expected an easy first day, but she was here to make a difference. The cool reception she'd received only confirmed her purpose. This was a place that needed change. When Liz was finally shown into Michael Grant's office, she was greeted by a warm, genuine smile. Michael rose from behind his large wooden desk, his hand outstretched, and Liz immediately sensed the contrast between his reception and that of the frontline staff. Tall and distinguished with salt and pepper hair, Michael carried an air of quiet authority tempered by kindness. "Elizabeth Walker at last," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "It's a pleasure to meet you in person. Welcome to Fidelity Trust." "Thank you, Michael," Liz replied, shaking his hand firmly. "I've been looking forward to this." They exchanged a few pleasantries, and Michael motioned for her to take a seat. The office was spacious but minimalistic, with carefully arranged plaques, awards, and framed photographs lining the walls. Liz noted a family picture on his desk, alongside a small brass clock that seemed to hum in the quiet space. "I understand you've been doing some observing," Michael said with a knowing smile. "How did your first impressions hold up?" Liz hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "There's a strong team here, certainly. Everyone seems dedicated to their roles. But," she paused, glancing out the office window at the bustling lobby below, "there's also a certain distance. Perhaps it's the size of the branch or the formality of the environment. I sense that people here are used to routine, to familiarity. That can be both an asset and a limitation." Michael nodded, absorbing her observations thoughtfully. "I believe you're right. This branch has always prided itself on its traditions, but sometimes that means resisting change." Liz could see he understood her subtle implication. "That's why I'm here, Michael. Change is hard, but it's essential if we want to continue serving our community well. I want to create a place where customers feel valued and employees feel empowered." Michael leaned back, considering her words. "You'll have my full support, Liz. I'll be honest, though. I suspect some of the staff may not take to these changes easily." She offered a slight smile. "I'm prepared for that. I didn't come here expecting everything to be simple. But I believe in what I'm here to do, and I'm ready to work through the challenges." Their conversation continued, delving into more of Liz's plans for the branch. She discussed her ideas for customer engagement, team-building activities, and a feedback system that would allow employees to express their concerns anonymously. Michael listened intently, occasionally nodding in agreement, and by the time she left his office, Liz felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was ready to lead. A few days later, Liz stood at the front of the conference room, facing a sea of curious and skeptical faces. The entire staff had gathered for the meeting, filling the chairs and lining the walls at the back. Liz could feel the quiet weight of their scrutiny, but she remained composed, her calm gaze sweeping over the room. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice steady but warm. "I know many of you have worked at this branch for a long time, and that you take pride in what you do. That's something I respect deeply." Her words were met with polite nods, though she could sense the faint skepticism lingering in the air. "But as we move forward, I believe we have an opportunity to grow," Liz continued. "Growth isn't just about reaching new customers or increasing profits. It's about building a place where everyone feels valued. Our customers, our team, and each one of you." A few people exchanged glances, some intrigued, others simply neutral. Amy, standing at the back of the room with her arms crossed, wore a faint smirk, her expression one of polite disinterest. Liz pressed on, unfazed. "One of the changes I'd like to introduce is a feedback system, where each of you can share your thoughts, concerns, and suggestions, anonymously if you choose. It's important to me that your voices are heard, that you feel comfortable speaking up." Amy raised a hand, her tone laced with sarcasm. "So, is this part of some new corporate initiative? Or is it just an experiment?" Liz met Amy's gaze with calm composure. "It's neither, Amy. It's a commitment to respect and openness. I'm here to build something lasting, something we can all be proud of." For a moment, silence settled over the room. Then, a few people murmured in agreement, and Liz saw several heads nodding, some staff members beginning to shift in their seats with renewed interest. But as she glanced back at Amy, she noticed the telltale glint of defiance in her eyes. a quiet promise that the road ahead wouldn't be without its hurdles. Over the next few weeks, Liz set about building connections with each department, focusing on creating trust and understanding among her team. She met with employees one-on-one, listening to their perspectives and learning about their roles. For Liz, these meetings were essential. They allowed her to gain insight into the team's strengths and challenges, and to foster the respect she knew would be necessary for meaningful change. One morning, she sat down with Peter Davies, a meticulous accountant in his 50s who'd worked at Fidelity Trust for decades. Peter was known for his precise work and quiet demeanor, rarely speaking up in meetings but well regarded by his colleagues. "Thank you for meeting with me, Peter," Liz began, offering a warm smile. "I'm really interested in hearing about your experiences here." Peter nodded, his gaze thoughtful as he considered her request. Over the next half hour, he shared stories of the branch's history, his dedication to the job, and his hopes for a workplace that valued professionalism and mutual respect. "I appreciate your efforts to bring these changes, Ms. Walker," he said finally. "I've seen this branch go through a lot over the years, and I think we could use a fresh perspective." Liz thanked him, genuinely moved by his openness. Peter's words reminded her that there were allies within the branch, people who believed in her vision and were willing to support her journey. These quiet connections, she knew, would be essential as she navigated the challenges ahead. Liz's days at Fidelity Trust began to fall into a rhythm, though far from a smooth one. Each morning, she'd arrive a little earlier than the rest, using those quiet moments to prepare herself mentally for the day. The lobby would still be empty, the chairs in neat rows, the desks pristine. She'd walk the floors, taking in the stillness of the bank before the hum of daily operations began. From her office, she could see the employees filing in, some with sleepy yawns and others already deep in conversation. She observed as they greeted each other, as colleagues grouped naturally into familiar clusters. Liz could almost feel the web of long-standing alliances and unspoken tensions among them. One morning, she noticed Amy glancing her way with an unreadable expression. Despite the outward professionalism, Liz could sense the subtle resistance Amy projected. In meetings, Amy's eyes would narrow slightly when Liz spoke, her arms folded tightly across her chest as if she were shielding herself from an idea she found unpalatable. Liz tried not to take it personally, but as days turned into weeks, she felt the strain of Amy's quiet defiance. The resistance didn't come in the form of outright objections or arguments. Rather, it was woven into the subtle nuances of their interactions, the way Amy questioned her ideas with just enough edge to unsettle the rest of the team, the way her group of friends echoed her sentiments with shared glances and faint smirks. But Liz was determined to remain composed. She had learned early in her career that leadership was as much about patience as it was about conviction. If she wanted to build respect, she'd have to start by giving it, by proving, not demanding, that her vision was worth following. One Thursday afternoon, Liz held a team meeting to discuss her latest initiative, an updated process for handling customer service requests. Her goal was to streamline the process, allowing customers to be served more efficiently while ensuring that all employees had a chance to develop their skills in new areas. Liz believed this approach would make the branch more responsive to customer needs and improve team morale by giving everyone a fair opportunity to grow. The response, however, was mixed. As Liz explained the new process, Amy's eyes flicked to her group, a subtle smirk tugging at her lips. "So, this means we'll be rotating responsibilities?" she asked, a hint of sarcasm in her tone. "What if some of us are already experts in certain areas? Won't this disrupt our workflow?" A few of Amy's closest colleagues murmured in agreement, and Liz sensed a ripple of doubt spreading through the room. She took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "I understand your concern, Amy," she replied evenly. "But I believe that having each team member develop a broad set of skills will ultimately make us stronger as a group. It's about creating a more adaptable, flexible team. I want each of you to feel confident in multiple areas of service so that we're prepared to meet our customers' needs, no matter what." Amy's expression didn't change, but the slight raise of her eyebrow signaled her skepticism. "Well, it sounds like a lot of changes at once," she said, her tone flat. "I just hope it doesn't cause more confusion for the customers." or for us. Liz kept her gaze steady, refusing to let Amy's tone shake her resolve. I believe in this approach, and I know you all have the capability to adapt. Let's give it a try and assess after a few weeks. There was a murmuring of agreement from a few employees, but Liz could see the doubts lingering in others' eyes. She felt the weight of their hesitation, but she refused to waver. She knew that change was rarely welcomed with open arms, and she was prepared to weather the discomfort that came with it. Amidst the subtle resistance, Liz found a quiet ally in Eva Chun, a young teller who had joined the branch only a few months earlier. Eva was soft-spoken but attentive, and Liz often noticed her taking notes during meetings, listening with genuine interest. One day, as Liz was heading to the break room for a quick cup of coffee, Eva approached her, a hint of nervousness in her expression. Ms. Walker, I just wanted to say, I really appreciate the changes you're making, she said quietly, glancing around to ensure they weren't overheard. I know not everyone is on board, but I think it's good for the branch. It makes me feel valued. Liz smiled warmly, grateful for the support. Thank you, Eva. That means a lot to me. Change is difficult, especially in a place with so much history, but I believe we can make it work together. Encouraged by Liz's response, Eva nodded. I want to help however I can. I think this is a great place to work, and I'd love to see it become even better. In that moment, Liz felt a renewed sense of purpose. The resistance from Amy and her circle had been wearing on her, but knowing that there were employees like Eva who believed in her vision gave her the strength to keep pushing forward. Liz knew that her journey would be a gradual one, built on small connections and moments of shared purpose like this. As weeks went by, Liz's new policies slowly took root. Some employees began adapting to the changes, and customer feedback reflected subtle improvements in the branch's responsiveness. However, not everyone was pleased, and the underlying tension remained, particularly among Amy's group. One afternoon, a situation arose that tested Liz's patience. A customer, Mrs. Callahan, who had been coming to Fidelity Trust for years, was struggling with the bank's online interface. She looked visibly flustered, clutching her smartphone with shaking hands as she tried to navigate the unfamiliar app. Amy was handling Mrs. Callahan's inquiry. Her tone clipped as she explained the steps. It's really quite simple, Mrs. Callahan, she said, a hint of impatience coloring her voice. You just need to enter your login information and follow the prompts. Mrs. Callahan frowned, her voice wavering as she replied, I'm sorry, dear. I don't understand all this new technology. Can you help me? Amy's expression grew tense, and Liz could sense her exasperation. Before Amy could respond, Liz stepped forward, her voice calm and reassuring. Mrs. Callahan, let me help you with that, she said, placing a gentle hand on the older woman's shoulder. It can be tricky at first, but I'll walk you through it step by step. Amy shot Liz a look of mild annoyance but said nothing, stepping aside as Liz took over. She noticed that a few other employees were watching, some with curiosity and others with faint smirks. Liz knew this was more than just a simple customer service moment. This was a demonstration of her approach to leadership. After guiding Mrs. Callahan through the process and ensuring she was comfortable with the app, Liz returned to her office, feeling both pride and frustration. Amy's reaction had made it clear that she still wasn't on board with Liz's values, and her subtle defiance was beginning to test Liz's patience. Later that evening, as Liz reviewed her notes from the day, she received a call from Michael Grant. He had heard about the interaction with Mrs. Callahan and wanted to check in with Liz to discuss the situation. Liz, I know you've been facing some resistance, Michael began, his tone sympathetic. Amy's been with us a long time, and I understand she can be set in her ways. Liz took a deep breath, grateful for Michael's understanding. I appreciate your support, Michael. I expected some challenges, but Amy's influence over the team makes it difficult to implement these changes smoothly. Michael sighed. I'll speak with her privately. I know her experience is valuable, but she needs to understand that we're moving forward, not staying stagnant. You have my full support. Liz felt a sense of relief, reassured by Michael's backing. She knew that his support would be crucial, as she continued to lead the branch through this transition. "Thank you, Michael," she replied. "I believe in this team, and I'm confident we can make these changes together. It's just a matter of helping everyone see the bigger picture." Michael agreed, offering a few more words of encouragement before they ended the call. Liz leaned back in her chair, feeling a renewed sense of resolve. She was here to lead, to foster respect and professionalism, and with Michael's support, she felt ready to take on the challenges that lay ahead. The atmosphere in the branch grew tense as Liz's changes took hold. Her customer feedback initiative and new training sessions had been met with mixed reactions. While some staff adapted, others resisted, holding on to old habits. Amy's influence over a small but vocal group of employees remained strong, and Liz could feel the undercurrent of discontent each time she introduced a new idea. One Monday morning, Liz arranged a team meeting to discuss plans for a Customer Appreciation Day. She hoped the event would bring the staff together while also improving their relationship with the community. "Thank you all for coming," Liz began, smiling as she surveyed the room. "Today, I want to talk about our upcoming Customer Appreciation Day. I believe it's an opportunity for us to strengthen our ties with our clients and showcase the branch's commitment to excellent service." The response was lukewarm. Some employees nodded, but others exchanged skeptical glances. Amy leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, a subtle challenge in her gaze. "So, we're supposed to go out of our way for this?" Amy asked, her tone light but laced with sarcasm. "I mean, doesn't this just make extra work for us?" A ripple of quiet laughter followed her remark. Liz kept her expression calm, though she felt the weight of Amy's words linger in the room. "I understand your concerns, Amy," Liz replied steadily. "But this isn't just extra work. It's an investment in the relationships we have with our customers. A welcoming atmosphere is one of the reasons people choose our branch, and events like these build loyalties. We'll all benefit from that in the long run." Amy shrugged, looking away. Liz knew she hadn't won her over, but she also noticed that other employees, those who had remained neutral or silent, seemed to consider her words. They hadn't openly supported her yet, but the seeds were there, and Liz felt a glimmer of hope. That afternoon, Liz was working in her office when she received a knock on the door. It was Peter Davies, the reserved accountant who rarely involved himself in workplace politics. Liz looked up, surprised, and motioned for him to come in. "Thank you for seeing me, Ms. Walker," Peter said, adjusting his glasses. He took a seat, his expression thoughtful. "I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate the changes you're making." Liz's face softened, grateful for the unexpected support. "Thank you, Peter. That means a lot to me." Peter glanced around, then leaned in, lowering his voice slightly. "I know there's been resistance, especially from some of the longer-standing staff, but I think the branch needs this. The new procedures, the training, they're making a difference. It feels like we're moving forward." Liz felt a rush of relief and gratitude. "Thank you for saying that, Peter. Change is difficult, especially in a place with so much history. But I believe we can create something special here. With the right support, we can make this a place where everyone feels respected." Peter nodded, a faint smile crossing his face. "I'm here to support you, Ms. Walker. Just let me know if there's anything I can do." Their conversation renewed Liz's determination. She knew that quiet allies like Peter could make all the difference in shifting the branch's culture. It was a reminder that, despite the challenges, she wasn't alone in her efforts. As the weeks passed, Amy's resistance became more overt. Small acts of defiance accumulated, ignoring instructions, questioning Liz's decisions in front of the team, and casting doubt on her initiatives. Liz felt the strain, but she held her composure, refusing to let Amy's behavior disrupt her focus. The tipping point came one busy Friday morning. The branch was bustling with customers, and Liz was assisting the tellers to keep up with the crowd. Amy was handling a customer, Mr. Carter, an elderly gentleman who had been coming to the branch for years. Known for his high standards, Mr. Carter expected a level of service that Amy had always been able to provide, until now. "I don't understand this new system," Mr. Carter said, his voice strained as he tried to follow Amy's instructions. "It was simpler before." Why all these changes? Amy sighed, impatience flickering across her face. Mr. Carter, we've explained this several times. The new system is more efficient. It just takes some getting used to. Liz, standing nearby, noticed Mr. Carter's confusion and the frustration etched on Amy's face. Sensing an opportunity to intervene, she stepped forward, her tone gentle and patient. Mr. Carter, I'd be happy to walk you through it, Liz said with a warm smile. We've made some updates to improve security and efficiency, but I know it can be a bit overwhelming at first. Mr. Carter relaxed, nodding gratefully. Amy shot Liz a look of annoyance but stepped back, allowing Liz to assist. The interaction felt like a silent battle, one that Liz won through kindness rather than confrontation. She could sense the tension simmering between them, and she knew it was only a matter of time before the issue came to a head. After the incident with Mr. Carter, Liz decided it was time to address the situation with Amy directly. She called Amy into her office, hoping to find common ground and, ideally, reach an understanding. Amy entered with a guarded expression, crossing her arms as she stood by the door. You wanted to see me? Yes, Amy, Liz replied, gesturing for her to take a seat. I wanted to talk about our customer interactions, especially with our regular clients like Mr. Carter. I noticed some tension this morning, and I wanted to see if there's anything I can do to help. Amy's eyes narrowed. Look, Liz, I've been here a lot longer than you. I know my customers and I know what they want. This system might work on paper, but it's causing confusion for people who've been with us for years. Liz took a deep breath, maintaining her calm. I understand that, Amy, and I respect your experience. But the systems we're implementing are designed to keep us competitive, to ensure our customers receive the best service possible. Amy leaned forward, her tone defensive. You don't understand, Liz. These changes, everything you're introducing, it's not just about the customers. It's disrupting our workflow, our way of doing things. People here don't want all these changes. They want consistency. Liz felt a surge of frustration but pushed it down, reminding herself that Amy's resistance stemmed from fear of losing control over a world she'd helped build. I'm not here to disrupt for the sake of it, Amy. I want to strengthen this branch, to make it a place that's prepared for the future. But I can't do that alone. I need your support and your honesty. For a moment, Amy was silent, her gaze dropping. Liz sensed a flicker of something. Perhaps regret, perhaps realization, but it passed quickly. Amy straightened, her expression hardening once more. I'll try, she said, though her tone suggested it was more out of obligation than commitment. Without waiting for a response, she stood and left the room, leaving Liz feeling both relieved and uncertain. Following her tense conversation with Amy, Liz found herself reflecting deeply on her leadership style and goals. She knew she couldn't control how everyone reacted to her, but she could control how she approached the situation. She made a conscious decision to double down on her values of respect, patience, and persistence. To ease the tension and improve team morale, Liz scheduled a one-on-one meeting with each team member. She wanted to check in, understand their concerns, and gauge where they stood on the changes she'd implemented. These conversations were illuminating. Some staff members expressed genuine appreciation for her new approach, while others, influenced by Amy, voiced uncertainty and resistance. Eva, as always, was encouraging, but Liz was struck by the warmth she received from Peter, too. He opened up about his own struggles with the new systems, admitting that while he respected her vision, he found it challenging to adapt. His honesty gave Liz perspective, reminding her that even those who supported her might be struggling behind the scenes. Thank you, Peter, she said after their conversation. It helps to know where you're coming from. If there's anything I can do to make this transition easier, don't hesitate to tell me. Peter nodded, visibly relieved. I appreciate that, Ms. Walker. Change isn't easy, but I believe in what you're doing here. As weeks went by, Liz began to see subtle shifts. Her efforts to create an open line of communication were beginning to bear fruit. Staff members who had previously been skeptical started participating more actively in meetings. Employees who had once seemed indifferent to the customer feedback system now brought up suggestions, contributing ideas that Liz gladly incorporated. One afternoon, Eva approached Liz with a smile. "Ms. Walker, I just wanted you to know that a few of us have been talking about the Customer Appreciation Day. I think it's a great idea, and we'd like to help organize it." Liz felt a surge of pride. "Thank you, Eva. That's wonderful news. I'm glad to see this level of enthusiasm." Eva's face lit up. "It feels good to be part of something meaningful. I think people are starting to see the value in your approach." As they planned the event, Liz felt a renewed sense of purpose. The subtle signs of progress reminded her that change was possible, even if it came slowly. She knew there was still a long road ahead, but each small victory strengthened her resolve. The friction between Liz and Amy simmered beneath the surface, but on a chilly Wednesday morning, it boiled over. Liz had organized a new customer feedback session with the staff, hoping to gather ideas on how to improve their daily operations. She was determined to make this an open forum where everyone felt heard. As the meeting began, Liz set a welcoming tone. "Thank you all for being here," she started, smiling around the room. "I want this to be an opportunity for us to discuss how we can make our customer experience better. I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether it's something that's working well or something you think could be improved." A few team members nodded, and one by one, people started sharing their ideas. Some mentioned that the new policies on rotating tasks had increased their skills and confidence. Others expressed appreciation for the chance to engage more directly with customers. When Amy's turn came, she leaned back in her chair, her arms crossed, a skeptical expression on her face. Liz braced herself, sensing that Amy's feedback wouldn't be entirely positive. "I'm just going to say what everyone's been thinking," Amy began, her tone sharper than usual. "All these changes, they're making things complicated. Customers are confused. We're having to constantly explain new systems, new procedures. It's exhausting. Honestly, I don't see how any of this is helping." The room fell silent, tension thickening as Amy's words hung in the air. Liz felt a flash of frustration, but she kept her expression neutral. "Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Amy," Liz replied, keeping her tone calm. "Change can be difficult, and I know it takes time to adjust. But I believe these improvements will benefit both our team and our customers in the long run. It's about creating a more inclusive and flexible environment." Amy scoffed, and a few others stifled smiles, caught up in her defiance. "Inclusive? Flexible? Liz, no offense, but you're throwing around a lot of big words, and meanwhile we're the ones struggling to keep up with all this progress. Maybe it's just too much." Liz felt the weight of the room's gaze and the unspoken pressure to respond. She looked directly at Amy, choosing her words carefully. "I understand that you feel these changes have created extra work, and I respect your point of view, but growth sometimes requires us to leave our comfort zones," she said, her tone gentle but firm. "It's a journey, and I need everyone's support if we're going to make this branch a place where both our team and our customers feel respected." Amy held Liz's gaze for a moment before looking away, her jaw set in defiance. Liz took a slow breath, feeling the strain of the exchange but determined not to let it disrupt her focus. She knew she'd made her point, but the quiet resistance in the room reminded her of the long road still ahead. That evening, as Liz sat in her office reviewing customer satisfaction reports, her phone rang. Michael Grant's name appeared on the screen. She answered, grateful for the chance to share her concerns with someone who understood the situation. "Liz, how are things?" Michael asked, his tone warm but concerned. "Honestly, Michael, it's been challenging," Liz replied. "The team is divided. Amy, in particular, is struggling with the changes, and her attitude is influencing others. I expected resistance, but this feels personal." Michael sighed, clearly understanding her frustration. "Amy has been with us for a long time, and she's had a certain amount of influence over the team. I know her resistance has made things difficult for you. Have you considered a one-on-one meeting with her, outside of the usual setting?" Liz hesitated. "I've tried to reach out to her individually, but every attempt seems to end with her dismissing my approach as unnecessary." Michael paused, choosing his words carefully. Sometimes, Liz, people need time to adjust. Amy's resistance reflects her fear of losing her influence. But I think a direct approach, something outside the office, maybe over coffee, might help. If she understands that you value her input, it might soften her stance. Liz nodded, feeling a spark of hope. Thank you, Michael. I'll try that. As she ended the call, Liz felt a renewed sense of purpose. The conversation with Michael reminded her that leadership wasn't just about implementing changes. It was about connecting with people on a personal level, even when they resisted. A few days later, Liz invited Amy for coffee at a quiet cafe near the branch. She hoped that a change of environment would help Amy open up, away from the watchful eyes of their colleagues. Amy arrived, looking wary but willing, and took a seat across from Liz. They exchanged a few polite words, talking about the weather and the busy holiday season, before Liz steered the conversation toward their work. Amy, I appreciate you meeting me here, Liz began, her tone warm but sincere. I know the past few months have been filled with changes. I wanted to hear your thoughts, honestly and openly, about what's been working and what hasn't. Amy hesitated, her expression guarded. It's not personal, Liz. It's just all these new systems, they feel unnecessary. I've been here for years, and I know what our customers want. Sometimes I feel like these changes are getting in the way of that. Liz nodded, listening carefully. I understand, and I respect that you know our customers well. That experience is invaluable. But I also think we have an opportunity to adapt, to make our services more accessible and efficient. Amy looked down at her coffee cup, her fingers tracing the edge. I get that you want to improve things, Liz. I do. But when you've done something the same way for years, it's hard to see why it needs to change. Liz leaned forward, her voice softening. I'm not here to erase what you've built, Amy. I'm here to build on it. You've created a foundation of trust with our customers, and that's something I admire. But I believe that together, we can take that foundation and create something even better. Amy met her gaze, and for the first time, Liz saw a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. Maybe I've been a bit too set in my ways, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm willing to try, Liz. I can't promise it'll be easy, but I'll try. A sense of relief washed over Liz, and she smiled warmly. That's all I ask, Amy. Thank you. The conversation marked a turning point. Though Amy's attitude wasn't fully transformed, Liz sensed that a barrier had been lifted. She knew it would take time, but this small step forward felt like a victory. In the following weeks, Liz noticed subtle changes in Amy's behavior. Though still somewhat guarded, Amy's interactions with customers were more patient, and she began to show a willingness to try the new procedures. Her influence over the team softened, and some of her closest colleagues began to follow her example. One afternoon, Eva approached Liz with an idea for an upcoming Customer Appreciation Day, excitedly sharing her plans to make the event more interactive. Liz listened, delighted by Eva's enthusiasm and the creativity she brought to her work. Eva, this is fantastic, Liz said, encouraging her. Let's set up a planning committee. I think it would be great if you led the team. Eva's eyes widened, a hint of nervousness flickering across her face. Me? Lead the team? Liz smiled warmly. Absolutely. You have great ideas, and I think you'll inspire others to get involved. With Liz's encouragement, Eva took on the leadership role, and soon, the entire branch was buzzing with excitement for the event. Even Amy offered to help with preparations, her tone friendlier than it had been in months. The shift in atmosphere was palpable. Liz's persistence and openness had started to bridge the divide, creating a sense of unity that had once seemed impossible. She knew there would still be challenges, but she felt a growing sense of optimism as the branch began to embrace the changes she had championed. The day of the Customer Appreciation event arrived, and the branch was transformed. Balloons and banners decorated the lobby, and tables were set up with refreshments and brochures about Fidelity Trust's new initiatives. Liz had invited local businesses to participate, creating a vibrant atmosphere that welcomed customers and community members alike. As the event began, Liz watched with pride as her team greeted guests, offered tours, and engaged customers with genuine warmth. Eva's leadership was evident. She moved confidently through the crowd, coordinating activities and ensuring that every guest felt welcomed. Liz saw Amy at the front desk, chatting amiably with a group of regular customers, her demeanor relaxed and friendly. Toward the end of the day, a customer approached Liz, a smile on his face. "This is wonderful," he said. "I've been coming here for years, but I've never seen the branch so lively. You've really made a difference." Liz felt a surge of gratitude. "Thank you. That means a lot to me. We're working hard to make this a place where everyone feels valued." The event was a resounding success, and as the evening wound down, Liz gathered her team for a few words of gratitude. "I want to thank each of you for your hard work and commitment," she said, looking around at the faces of her team. "Today showed me what this branch is capable of, what we're capable of together. I'm so proud of everything we've accomplished." The team applauded, and Liz saw genuine smiles on the faces of her employees. Even Amy joined in, her expression one of quiet respect. For Liz, this moment felt like a turning point. She had navigated the resistance, fostered unity, and seen the first signs of her vision taking root. She knew the journey wasn't over, but she felt a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing that she'd begun to build the foundation of something lasting. The morning after the customer appreciation event, the branch was buzzing with positive energy. Liz walked in to see her team members chatting animatedly, some sharing stories from the event and others laughing together as they tidied up the last remnants of the celebration. Liz's heart swelled as she overheard customers complimenting the team's hospitality, praising the warmth they felt at the event. As Liz moved through the lobby, she noticed Amy helping an elderly customer fill out a form. Amy's patience and focus were evident, and Liz saw warmth in her interactions that had been absent just months before. It was a subtle but powerful shift, a sign that Amy had begun to embrace the values Liz had worked so hard to promote. In a quiet moment, Amy caught Liz's eye and gave her a brief nod. A small gesture, but one that spoke volumes. Liz returned the nod with a smile, feeling a new sense of mutual respect. She knew they still had their differences, but it was clear that Amy had started to recognize the benefits of the changes Liz had implemented. That afternoon, Liz held a team meeting to reflect on the event's success and gather feedback. As she addressed her team, she felt the weight of the shared journey they'd been on, the struggles and small victories that had brought them to this moment. "I want to thank each of you for making yesterday a success," Liz began, her voice filled with warmth. "You've shown our customers the kind of community we're building here. A place where people are respected, valued, and welcome. I couldn't be prouder of the work we've done together." A ripple of quiet smiles and nods moved through the room. Liz noticed that even the employees who had once been indifferent were now more engaged, their expressions reflecting a sense of ownership in the branch's new culture. Not long after the event, Liz received a call from a member of Fidelity Trust's regional management team, requesting a meeting to discuss the branch's performance. She had expected this, knowing that her initiatives were unconventional and that upper management might be wary of the changes. Nonetheless, she felt a mixture of excitement and nerves as she prepared for the meeting. The following week, Liz met with Margaret Hale, the regional director, at a quiet cafe. Margaret was known for her rigorous standards and no-nonsense approach, but she greeted Liz with a warm smile. "Elizabeth Walker, it's a pleasure," Margaret said, shaking her hand firmly. "I've heard quite a bit about what you've been doing at the branch. Tell me more about this customer-first culture you're developing." Liz took a steadying breath and began explaining her vision. The emphasis on respect, the focus on professional growth for employees, and the importance of making each customer feel valued. Margaret listened intently, her expression thoughtful. "I see," Margaret said finally. "You've clearly made an impact. I'll be honest, Elizabeth. I was skeptical when I first heard about some of the changes, but the numbers show positive results, and customer satisfaction has improved significantly." Liz felt a surge of relief and pride. "Thank you, Margaret. I believe that the more we invest in our people, the more they'll invest in our customers. It's a cycle that strengthens the entire branch." Margaret nodded, her tone approving. "I'm impressed, Liz. Keep up the good work." Fidelity Trust needs leaders like you who are willing to try something new. But be prepared. Sometimes change can stir up unexpected resistance, even from above. As they parted ways, Liz felt a renewed sense of purpose. The acknowledgement from Margaret was a sign that her efforts were making waves, even beyond the branch. She knew there would still be challenges, but Margaret's support gave her the strength to continue. Encouraged by the meeting with Margaret, Liz continued refining her approach, implementing new team-building exercises and encouraging employees to take ownership of their roles. But not long after, an unforeseen issue arose that tested the foundation of trust she had been building. One morning, a teller named Paul Ruiz approached Liz with a concerned expression. He confided that a customer had complained about the new online banking system, frustrated by the unfamiliarity of it. The customer had left a scathing review, claiming that the branch's changes had complicated simple banking tasks. Liz felt the sting of the criticism, knowing that this was a challenge to the very values she was promoting. She gathered her team that afternoon for an impromptu meeting to address the issue openly. I wanted to share this with all of you because I think it's important to address both the positive and negative feedback we receive. Liz began, holding up a printout of the review. We've made great strides in creating a respectful, welcoming culture, but we also need to ensure that our changes don't overwhelm our customers. Amy, who had been listening intently, raised her hand. Maybe we need more customer education, flyers, tutorials, or something to help people adjust to the new systems. Liz nodded, feeling a swell of gratitude. Exactly. Change can be challenging, and it's our responsibility to make it as smooth as possible for our customers. As the team brainstormed solutions, Liz realized that this moment of adversity was also an opportunity for growth. She was seeing her team come together to solve a problem, demonstrating the unity she had worked so hard to foster. Later that week, as Liz wrapped up her workday, Amy knocked on her office door, looking uncharacteristically hesitant. "Do you have a minute?" Amy asked, stepping inside when Liz gestured her to enter. "Of course, Amy. What's on your mind?" Liz asked, setting down her paperwork. Amy paused, her gaze shifting to the floor. "I wanted to apologize. I know I didn't make things easy for you in the beginning. I didn't understand what you were trying to do, and honestly, I didn't think it would work." Liz felt a swell of surprise and respect, sensing the sincerity in Amy's words. "Thank you for saying that, Amy. I know it hasn't been easy, but I appreciate the effort you've made. It's made a difference, for the team, and for me." Amy smiled faintly, her shoulders relaxing. "I've come to realize that the changes you've made, they're actually good for us. I don't know if I'd have admitted that a few months ago, but now, I see it." Liz nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "That means a lot to me, Amy. I couldn't have done any of this without your experience and dedication." As Amy left, Liz felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The apology marked a turning point in their relationship, and Liz knew that her work at the branch was beginning to take root in a meaningful way. With Amy's support and the team united, Liz began focusing on long-term improvements. She organized monthly training sessions, giving employees the chance to develop new skills and improve their understanding of customer service. She also held regular feedback sessions, encouraging her team to share ideas and voice concerns openly. Eva took on an active role in these sessions, often bringing fresh ideas and rallying the team with her enthusiasm. Liz could see the confidence growing in her, a reminder of the journey they'd both been on. Eva had gone from a quiet teller to an emerging leader, someone who others looked to for guidance and inspiration. One day, Eva approached Liz with an idea for a mentorship program, pairing senior employees with newer hires to help them navigate the workplace culture. "I think it could help new employees feel more connected to the team," Eva explained, her eyes bright with excitement. "And it might ease their adjustment to the new systems and expectations." Liz listened with pride. "I think that's a brilliant idea, Eva. Let's start planning it." With Eva's help, Liz implemented the mentorship program, and the impact was immediate. New hires felt more supported, and senior employees like Peter and Amy found renewed purpose in helping others succeed. The mentorship program became a cornerstone of the branch's culture, strengthening the sense of unity Liz had worked so hard to establish. Months after the initial changes, Liz received a call from Margaret, the regional director. This time, it wasn't just to check in. It was to congratulate her on the branch's exceptional performance. Liz, I wanted to let you know that your branch's customer satisfaction scores are among the highest in the region, Margaret said, her voice filled with admiration. I'm recommending your team for a regional award in excellence. Liz felt a surge of pride, a validation of the journey they had all been on. Thank you, Margaret. This wouldn't have been possible without the support of my team. Margaret's voice softened. You've done an incredible job, Liz. Your leadership is exactly what Fidelity Trust needs to move forward. As she ended the call, Liz took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought her here. The recognition was a testament to her team's resilience and dedication, a reminder that their hard work had paid off in ways that went beyond numbers. To celebrate the regional award nomination, Liz organized a team lunch, inviting everyone to join her in a moment of gratitude and recognition. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and camaraderie as her team shared stories, joked, and enjoyed each other's company. Liz raised her glass, her voice steady but filled with emotion. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your hard work, your dedication, and your willingness to grow together. This branch isn't just a workplace. It's a community, one that each of you has helped build. I'm incredibly proud to work alongside you. The team toasted, and Liz looked around the room, feeling the weight of the journey they'd shared. Her vision of a unified, respectful workplace had finally come to fruition, and as she saw the smiles on her team's faces, she knew that they were stronger together than they had ever been before. The weeks following the branch's customer appreciation event were transformative. Liz could feel a shift in her team's energy. There was a new level of engagement, a willingness to participate that had once been absent. Employees seemed more at ease, greeting customers with genuine smiles and supporting each other during the busiest parts of the day. One afternoon, Liz walked through the lobby and noticed Eva training a new teller, Marcus, on how to manage the updated customer database. Eva's tone was encouraging as she guided him through each step, patiently answering his questions and giving him pointers. Marcus listened intently, his nervousness fading under Eva's calm mentorship. Liz smiled, feeling proud of Eva's growth. She had become a leader in her own right, embodying the values Liz had hoped to instill in the branch. Liz decided to approach them, sensing an opportunity to show her appreciation. Eva, Marcus, she greeted. I just wanted to say that I'm proud of the way you're working together. Marcus, you're in good hands with Eva. She's one of our best. Marcus beamed, while Eva gave a humble nod. Thank you, Ms. Walker. I've learned so much here, Eva replied, glancing at Marcus with a reassuring smile. Marcus is catching on quickly. As she continued on, Liz felt a renewed sense of purpose. She could see the foundation she'd worked so hard to build beginning to solidify, and the sense of community she had envisioned was finally coming to life. That evening, as Liz wrapped up her work, she was surprised to find Amy waiting by her office door. Amy's posture was relaxed, and her expression was softer than usual. Do you have a moment? Amy asked, her tone hesitant. Of course, Amy, Liz replied, gesturing for her to come in. Once they were seated, Amy looked down, gathering her thoughts. I wanted to talk to you about the changes you've brought to the branch. First, well, I didn't understand it. I thought it would make things more difficult. But seeing the way everyone has come together, it's made me rethink a lot of things. Liz listened, her expression encouraging. I realized that I was afraid. Amy continued, her voice softening. Afraid that everything I knew was being replaced. But now I see that the changes have given us all a chance to grow. And I wanted to thank you for not giving up on us. Liz felt a swell of emotion, grateful for Amy's vulnerability. Thank you, Amy. I know I can be persistent, she said with a warm smile. But I never wanted to take away from what you built here. I wanted to add to it, to build something lasting together. Amy nodded, a look of understanding in her eyes. Well, I'm ready to support you however I can. And I'm sorry if I made things harder for you in the beginning. Liz reached out, placing a reassuring hand on Amy's. "The most important thing is that we're here now, working as a team. I'm proud of the journey we've taken together." Amy left Liz's office that evening with a sense of renewed purpose, and Liz felt a quiet sense of triumph. This moment of reconciliation was a testament to the power of patience and understanding, and Liz knew it would strengthen the unity within the branch. Inspired by the team's progress, Liz proposed a new initiative, a Customer Appreciation Week, where each day would focus on engaging and recognizing customers in a unique way. There would be personalized services, meet-and-greet sessions, and a special outreach program where employees could volunteer in local community events. During a team meeting, Liz outlined her vision for the initiative, watching as her team absorbed the details. "I want each of you to be involved in this," Liz said, looking around the room. "Our customers are the heart of this branch, and I think it's time we show them our appreciation in a big way." Eva immediately volunteered to coordinate the schedule, and Peter offered to help organize the volunteer events. Even Amy stepped up, suggesting they create a feedback booth where customers could share their experiences directly with the staff. The enthusiasm was contagious, and as the team discussed logistics, Liz felt her heart swell with pride. They were no longer just a group of individuals, they were a cohesive team, united by a shared purpose. During one of the Customer Appreciation Week events, Liz was greeting customers at the entrance when she spotted a familiar face in the crowd. Rachel Simmons, a former colleague from a previous branch, was among the attendees. Rachel approached Liz with a wide smile and a look of surprise. "Liz, it's been ages," Rachel exclaimed, giving her a warm hug. "I had no idea you were here." Liz laughed, returning the hug. "Rachel, so good to see you. What brings you to this branch?" "I just moved back to town," Rachel explained. "But I have to say, I've never seen a branch so welcoming. This is amazing, Liz. You've created something really special here." They chatted for a few minutes, reminiscing about old times, and Liz shared some of her experiences building the culture at Fidelity Trust. Rachel listened intently, her admiration clear. "You're an inspiration, Liz," Rachel said, her tone sincere. "What you've done here, it's not easy to change a culture. I'm proud of you." As Rachel walked away, Liz felt a deep sense of validation. Her efforts were being recognized not only within the branch but beyond it. The encounter reinforced her commitment to the values she had fought to instill, and she knew she was on the right path. Just as things seemed to be settling, an unexpected situation arose that tested Liz's leadership in a new way. One of the branch's most loyal customers, Mrs. Callahan, was upset over a billing error that had affected her savings account. She approached Liz directly, visibly distressed. "Ms. Walker, I don't know what's happened, but I noticed a charge on my account that shouldn't be there," Mrs. Callahan said, her voice trembling. Liz listened attentively, reassuring her. "I'm so sorry to hear that, Mrs. Callahan. Let's go over this together and get it resolved." Liz brought Mrs. Callahan into her office and immediately began investigating the issue. After a few phone calls and some back and forth with the support team, Liz discovered that the charge was due to a technical glitch that had affected several accounts. With genuine empathy, Liz apologized, explaining the situation in detail. "I can assure you, Mrs. Callahan, we'll correct this immediately and reimburse any fees. This shouldn't have happened, and I'll make sure it doesn't happen again." Mrs. Callahan's expression softened, her trust in Liz evident. "Thank you, Ms. Walker. I know you're doing your best. It's just, I've been with this bank for so long, and I've never had a problem until now." Liz walked Mrs. Callahan out, ensuring that her concerns were fully addressed. The incident served as a reminder that even in a supportive environment, challenges would arise. But Liz knew that handling these issues with integrity was what would ultimately reinforce the values she had built. With the team growing stronger and the branch's performance steadily improving, Liz began implementing more formal training programs. She collaborated with HR to create workshops on communication, problem-solving, and customer relations, believing that these skills were essential to maintaining the branch's newfound culture. During one of the workshops, Liz noticed how engaged her employees were, especially Eva, who had taken on a more active role in training new hires. Liz knew that Eva's growth reflected the progress of the entire branch, and she felt a sense of fulfillment watching her once quiet ally blossom into a confident leader. Amy also attended the workshops, her participation more active than ever. Liz could see that Amy's commitment was no longer perfunctory. It was genuine. She had come to value the changes Liz had introduced, and her influence had shifted from one of resistance to one of encouragement. After the workshop, Amy approached Liz with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking we should create a handbook for new hires, something that captures the values we've built here. It could help them understand what we stand for." Liz's eyes lit up. "That's a wonderful idea, Amy. Let's work on it together." The handbook became a collaborative project, with contributions from the entire team. It documented the journey they'd taken, the challenges they'd overcome, and the principles that guided them. When it was complete, Liz felt a deep sense of pride, knowing they had created something that would leave a lasting legacy. News of the branch's success spread beyond the region, eventually reaching Fidelity Trust's headquarters. Liz received an invitation to speak at an upcoming leadership conference, where she was asked to share her experience of transforming the branch culture. The day of the conference, Liz stood before a crowd of Fidelity Trust employees, managers, and executives, feeling both nervous and excited. She began her speech by sharing the challenges she had faced, the resistance from her team, and the moments of doubt that had tested her resolve. "But through it all, I learned that leadership isn't about making demands or forcing change," Liz said, her voice steady and sincere. "It's about understanding the people you lead, respecting their perspectives, and showing them a vision worth believing in." The audience listened intently, and as Liz concluded her speech, they erupted in applause. Afterward, several attendees approached her, expressing their admiration and asking for advice on how to create a similar culture in their own branches. Liz returned to the branch feeling both humbled and empowered. The recognition reinforced her belief in her values, and she knew that the journey she had taken with her team was only the beginning of something much larger. Following the recognition at the leadership conference, Liz returned to her branch with a renewed sense of purpose. Her team had not only embraced her values of respect, professionalism, and unity, but had also made them a part of their daily lives. Inspired by this success, Liz felt it was time to expand her approach to other branches in the region. Liz began by hosting monthly leadership roundtables with managers from neighboring branches, where she shared her experiences and invited them to discuss their own challenges. The first few sessions were small, attended mostly by managers who were curious but hesitant. However, as Liz shared the story of her journey and the principles she had implemented, the roundtables began attracting more interest. During one meeting, a branch manager named Sandra Liu shared her struggles with building team morale. "Our staff is efficient, but the atmosphere feels distant," Sandra admitted, her tone reflective. "How do you create that feeling of unity?" Liz listened thoughtfully before responding. "It starts with understanding each person's strengths and challenges, and finding ways for them to support each other. Building trust and respect can take time, but small gestures and consistent encouragement make a big difference." Sandra nodded, inspired by Liz's approach. "I think that's what we're missing, the sense of community. I'm going to try it." The monthly meetings grew, with managers sharing stories of progress and setbacks, united in their commitment to build supportive environments. Liz's branch became a model for others, and her influence began to ripple through the entire region. With the branch culture solidifying, Liz turned her focus toward mentoring team members who showed leadership potential. She organized quarterly mentorship workshops, where employees from all departments were encouraged to participate. Liz wanted her team to feel empowered and to see their own potential as leaders, regardless of their titles. One afternoon, Eva approached Liz after a workshop, a mixture of excitement and nerves in her eyes. "Ms. Walker, I've been thinking about applying for the branch manager development program," she said, her voice steady but uncertain. "But I'm not sure I'm ready for it." Liz smiled, placing a reassuring hand on Eva's shoulder. "Eva, you're one of the most dedicated and capable people I've had the pleasure of working with. You've shown incredible growth, and I believe you're ready for this step. I'll be here to support you." Encouraged, Eva applied and was soon accepted into the program. Watching her take this next step felt like a culmination of the journey they'd been on together. Liz felt proud, not just of Eva, but of the community they'd built. One where each team member could envision a future of growth and opportunity. Amy, too, had begun to step into a more active leadership role. She had gone from resisting Liz's changes to becoming one of their strongest advocates, even volunteering to lead training sessions for new hires. Liz watched with admiration as Amy guided new employees, sharing the values they'd instilled in the branch with the same passion Liz had once shown her. One afternoon, as Liz and Amy discussed upcoming training plans, Amy took a deep breath, as if she'd been wanting to share something for a while. "Liz, I need to thank you," Amy said, her voice sincere. "A year ago, I wouldn't have believed I'd be leading a training session on growth and change. But you showed me that change doesn't mean losing what we've built. It means making it stronger. You've changed my outlook, and I'm grateful." Liz smiled, moved by Amy's honesty. "Thank you, Amy. Your support means everything. I always believed in what we could achieve together." Their journey from resistance to partnership was a testament to Liz's persistence and Amy's courage to embrace change. Together, they had created an environment that empowered every member of the team, from the newest hires to the most seasoned veterans. Liz's success had reached the highest levels of Fidelity Trust's leadership, and it wasn't long before she received word that the bank's vice president, Robert Hayes, would be visiting the branch. Known for his discerning eye and high standards, Robert had personally requested a tour of Liz's branch, eager to see the changes firsthand. The day of his visit, Liz welcomed Robert warmly and began guiding him through the branch. She introduced him to her team, highlighting the mentorship program, customer service training, and monthly team meetings. Robert listened attentively, his expression one of genuine interest. As they finished the tour, Robert turned to Liz with an approving smile. "Elizabeth, this is exceptional. The atmosphere here is unlike any branch I've seen. You've built something remarkable." Liz felt a surge of pride. "Thank you, Robert. It's been a journey, but I couldn't have done it without the team's commitment. They're the heart of this place." Robert nodded, impressed. "I'd like you to consider taking on a regional leadership role. Your methods have had a profound impact here, and I believe they could benefit other branches as well." The offer was both thrilling and humbling. Liz took a moment to absorb the weight of the opportunity, knowing it would mean leaving the branch she had grown to love. But she also saw the potential to extend her influence, to help create positive change across multiple branches. "I would be honored, Robert," Liz replied, her voice filled with resolve. "If I can bring these values to more branches, I'd consider it a privilege." After accepting the regional position, Liz faced the bittersweet task of saying goodbye to her team. She gathered everyone for a farewell meeting, knowing this moment was as much theirs as it was hers. Standing before her team, Liz felt a mix of emotions. "Thank you all for the journey we've shared. Together, we built more than just a branch, we built a community. And I know each of you will carry that forward." The room was filled with both smiles and misty eyes as employees exchanged glances, their respect and admiration for Liz palpable. Eva stepped forward, handing Liz a card signed by the entire team. It was filled with notes of gratitude, each one a testament to the impact she'd had on their lives. Amy gave Liz a heartfelt hug, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "Thank you for believing in us, Liz. We're going to make you proud." Liz smiled, her heart full. "You already have." As she left the branch that day, Liz knew she was leaving it in capable hands. The culture they had created would live on, and she felt at peace knowing the branch would continue to thrive. Liz's new role as a regional leader was challenging but rewarding. She spent her days visiting branches, meeting with managers, and helping them implement similar values of respect and customer care. Her approach was to observe, listen, and guide, never impose, always adapt. In each branch, Liz held feedback sessions, allowing employees to share their perspectives. She brought in team-building exercises and set up mentorship programs modeled after the ones she had created in her former branch. Slowly but surely, she began to see the same unity and enthusiasm taking root in branches across the region. One day, during a visit to a struggling branch, Liz spoke with a young teller named Sarah, who seemed overwhelmed by her workload and the branch's fast pace. After listening to Sarah's concerns, Liz offered her some guidance, drawing on the principles she had cultivated. "Sarah, you have more potential than you realize," Liz said kindly. "Sometimes, all it takes is a willingness to reach out, to share your challenges and accept support. You're part of a team, and together, you can achieve more than you could alone." Sarah nodded, visibly comforted. Liz's words reminded her of why she had taken on this new role: to inspire, to uplift, and to create lasting connections. As Liz's influence grew, she became known throughout the region for her innovative approach. Other managers reached out to her for advice, eager to learn how to create the same environment of respect and professionalism. Liz was often invited to speak at leadership seminars, where she shared her journey and the lessons she had learned. During one such seminar, Liz looked out at a room full of attendees and felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She began her speech by recounting the early days at her branch, the resistance, the challenges, and the small victories that had brought them together. "What I learned," Liz said, her voice carrying a quiet strength, "is that leadership isn't about forcing change. It's about building trust, showing respect, and creating a vision that others want to be a part of. When people feel valued, they rise to meet any challenge." Her words resonated, and the audience erupted in applause. Liz felt a sense of peace, knowing that the values she had worked so hard to cultivate were now inspiring others. Years later, as Liz neared retirement, she took a quiet moment to reflect on her journey. She visited her original branch, where she was greeted warmly by familiar faces and a few new ones. Eva, now the branch manager, welcomed her with a heartfelt smile. "Ms. Walker," Eva said, leading her through the branch, "I want you to know that we still follow the principles you taught us. This place is what it is because of you." Liz felt a deep sense of fulfillment as she looked around, seeing the culture she had nurtured still thriving. She had built more than a career. She had built a legacy of respect, kindness, and unity that would endure long after she had left. As she walked out of the branch for the last time, Liz felt at peace, knowing that her quiet revolution had transformed lives and left an indelible mark on the people she had led. In her new role as regional leader, Liz found herself busier than ever. Her days were filled with meetings, branch visits, and strategy sessions with executives. As much as she enjoyed the work, the fast pace and increased responsibility often left her drained. Yet, each time she walked into a branch and saw her influence reflected in the employees' positive interactions with customers, she felt her energy renew. One of her first initiatives as a regional leader was to establish a series of bi-weekly listening sessions at each branch. During these sessions, Liz encouraged employees to share both challenges and successes, aiming to create a culture where everyone felt heard and valued. The first few sessions were met with hesitance. Employees seemed unsure of how much they could trust this new, higher-level figure. But Liz's warm demeanor, active listening, and sincere responses gradually won them over. By the third or fourth session, employees were opening up more freely, sharing insights and proposing solutions for the issues they encountered. During one session at a branch in a small town, a young teller named Jamie expressed his concerns. "Sometimes, I feel like our team is stuck in a rut," he admitted. "We do things a certain way because that's how it's always been, but it feels like there could be a better way." Liz nodded, her gaze encouraging. "Thank you for sharing that, Jamie. Change often starts with the courage to question the status quo. What changes do you think would help the team here?" Jamie glanced around nervously, but with Liz's encouragement, he shared his ideas for a more streamlined workflow. His suggestions sparked a lively discussion among the team, and by the end of the session, Liz could see their newfound enthusiasm. These listening sessions quickly became one of Liz's favorite parts of her role, offering her a window into the unique dynamics at each branch. The sessions allowed employees to express their ideas openly, reinforcing the values of respect, communication, and continuous improvement that Liz championed. One of Liz's most challenging tasks was helping a struggling branch in a nearby city. This branch had seen high turnover rates, low customer satisfaction, and a culture marred by apathy and burnout. Liz knew it would take time and patience to reverse the downward spiral, but she was committed to turning things around. Her first step was to meet with the branch manager, Thomas Gray, who had been with Fidelity Trust for over 20 years. Thomas was reserved, his demeanor tinged with resignation, as if he had already accepted the branch's decline as inevitable. "Thomas," Liz began after their initial introductions, "I know things have been difficult here, but I also believe in the potential of this branch. I'm here to help however I can, and I'd like to understand your perspective on what's been holding the team back." Thomas sighed, running a hand through his thinning hair. "We've lost so many good people in the past few years. It's hard to keep morale up when everyone's feeling overworked and underappreciated. The team is spread thin, and that's taken a toll on our customer service." Liz nodded, understanding the weight of his words. "I appreciate your honesty, Thomas. Let's start by focusing on rebuilding that foundation of trust and morale. I'll work closely with you and the team to identify areas where we can ease the workload and bring back some positivity." Together, they outlined a plan that included hiring additional staff, implementing a mentorship program to support newer employees, and organizing regular team-building activities to strengthen camaraderie. Liz made a point to be present at the branch frequently, meeting with employees one-on-one and encouraging them to share their ideas. Over time, the atmosphere at the branch began to shift. The team meetings became more collaborative, employees grew more engaged, and customer feedback slowly improved. Liz knew the process would take time, but she saw the early signs of progress and felt encouraged. Inspired by the improvements at Thomas's branch, Liz decided to formalize a mentorship program across the region. She envisioned a structure where experienced employees could mentor newer team members, fostering a culture of growth and support. Liz reached out to her original branch, inviting Eva and Amy to help design and lead the program. Both women were thrilled by the opportunity and immediately began working with Liz to create training materials, outline mentorship guidelines, and develop a matching process for mentors and ments. The program launched with a strong start, and branches across the region began pairing up seasoned employees with those who were newer or seeking guidance. The results were almost immediate. Employees felt more confident, and the sense of unity grew stronger. During one of the mentorship events, Liz observed a senior teller named Carlos mentoring a younger teller, Mia, who had been struggling with the new customer management software. Liz listened as Carlos patiently explained each step, encouraging Mia with gentle reassurances. Afterward, Liz approached Carlos, her face filled with appreciation. "Carlos, I just wanted to say that you're setting an incredible example. This is exactly what I hoped the mentorship program would bring out in our team." Carlos smiled, visibly touched. "Thank you, Ms. Walker. It's rewarding to help someone else find their footing. I wish we'd had a program like this years ago." Watching the program unfold, Liz felt that they were not just building a better workplace but a more supportive community. The mentorship program became one of her proudest accomplishments, solidifying the culture of respect and collaboration she had always envisioned. Several months into her regional role, Liz proposed an initiative to recognize outstanding branches within her region. She believed that by highlighting and rewarding branches that exemplified Fidelity Trust's values, she could inspire even greater commitment and engagement. The initiative included awards for excellence in customer service, most improved branch, and leadership in team development. Each award came with a modest bonus for the branch and a plaque to be displayed in their lobby. Liz also organized an annual gathering where the winning branches were celebrated, creating a moment for each team to take pride in their accomplishments. One of the first recipients was Thomas's branch, which had shown remarkable improvement in customer satisfaction and employee retention. When Liz presented the award, she saw tears of pride in Thomas's eyes, a reminder of how far they had come together. "This isn't just my achievement," Thomas said, addressing his team as he accepted the award. "It's ours. We did this together, and I couldn't be prouder of each and every one of you." The recognition initiative became a tradition, one that employees across the region looked forward to each year. It served as a reminder of Liz's core belief, that when people feel valued, they rise to meet challenges and take pride in their work. After a year in her regional role, Liz took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought her here. She returned to her original branch for a visit, where Eva and Amy greeted her with warmth and excitement, eager to share the branch's latest achievements. The lobby was bustling, filled with the same welcoming energy Liz had worked so hard to cultivate. Customers smiled and chatted with tellers. Employees moved confidently from task to task, and the sense of community was palpable. As Liz sat down with Eva and Amy, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "You've both done an incredible job. This branch is everything I dreamed it could be, and more." Eva smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "We had a great teacher, Ms. Walker. You showed us what was possible." Amy added, "And it's not just here, Liz. Your influence has spread. Other branches are talking about the changes you've made, and they're inspired." Hearing this, Liz felt her journey come full circle. The principles she had instilled, the importance of respect, the value of listening, and the power of unity, had taken on a life of their own, reaching far beyond the walls of her original branch. One afternoon, Liz received a call from Robert Hayes, the vice president who had initially encouraged her to take on the regional role. Robert congratulated her on the success of her programs and invited her to apply for an executive position in strategic leadership, a role that would allow her to shape Fidelity Trust's company-wide policies. The offer was humbling, and Liz knew it was a testament to her work. Yet, as she considered the decision, she felt a bittersweet pang. She loved the personal connections, the face-to-face impact she had at the branch and regional level. The executive role was appealing, but it also meant stepping away from the direct influence she valued so deeply. After much reflection, Liz decided she would accept the offer, but with a promise to herself. She would bring the same principles of respect, empathy, and community building to the executive team, ensuring that Fidelity Trust's policies reflected the values she believed in. In her final days as regional leader, Liz organized a farewell gathering for the branch managers and team members she had worked closely with. She felt a wave of gratitude as she looked around at the faces of those who had supported her journey, each one a reminder of the impact they had made together. Standing before them, Liz took a deep breath and began her farewell speech. "I want to thank each of you for believing in this journey. We've built something together that goes beyond policies or procedures. We've created a culture of respect, one that values each individual's voice and recognizes the strength in unity." As she spoke, she saw nods of agreement and teary smiles, each one a testament to the relationships they had forged. "This isn't goodbye," Liz continued, her voice warm. "I may be stepping into a new role, but I carry each of you with me. The values we've built will guide everything I do, and I know they'll continue to flourish here because of all of you." The applause that followed was heartfelt, a collective expression of the respect and admiration they felt for Liz. She knew that while her role might be changing, her legacy would live on in the people she had led and the values they carried forward. Liz's new role as Senior Vice President of Strategic Leadership was both exciting and daunting. Fidelity Trust was a large, established institution with thousands of employees spread across the country, each branch carrying its own unique culture and challenges. Liz knew that creating meaningful change on a company-wide scale would require patience, collaboration, and, most importantly, a clear vision. Her first day in the new role was spent meeting with executives from various departments, each presenting their goals and concerns. As she listened to each team, Liz was reminded of her early days as branch president, the complexities, the personalities, the differences in priorities. Yet she saw these challenges as opportunities, eager to find ways to unify the departments under a shared purpose. One of her first initiatives was to create a cross-departmental task force aimed at improving employee engagement and customer experience. She invited leaders from customer service, human resources, technology, and branch operations to participate, knowing that diverse perspectives were essential to building a cohesive strategy. As they gathered for the first task force meeting, Liz addressed the group with her characteristic warmth. "Thank you all for joining me. My vision for this task force is simple. I want us to create an environment where every employee feels valued and every customer feels respected. Each of you brings a unique perspective, and together, I believe we can make Fidelity Trust a place that stands out, not just for what we do, but for how we do it." The team exchanged nods of agreement, and Liz felt a surge of optimism. She knew this was just the beginning of a challenging journey, but with the right people by her side, she was ready to take on whatever lay ahead. As Liz settled into her role, she faced an array of challenges. The corporate environment was faster-paced and more complex than the branch level, requiring her to adapt quickly and make decisions with a broader perspective. Some of her initiatives met resistance from executives who preferred traditional methods, and she encountered skepticism from those who doubted the feasibility of her vision. One afternoon, during a meeting with the finance department, Liz proposed reallocating funds toward employee wellness programs, explaining that happier, healthier employees would ultimately lead to higher productivity and customer satisfaction. James Monroe, the head of finance, raised an eyebrow. "Liz, I understand the sentiment, but the numbers need to add up. Wellness programs are nice in theory, but do they justify the cost? We need to ensure our decisions make financial sense." Liz responded calmly, having anticipated this reaction. "I appreciate your concerns, James, and I agree that we need to be mindful of our resources. But studies show that investing in wellness reduces turnover and boosts morale, which ultimately saves us more than it costs. If we pilot a program in a few branches, we can assess the impact before a full rollout." James considered her proposal, and after a moment, he nodded. "Let's give it a shot, then. We'll review the results after a quarter and go from there." The exchange reinforced to Liz that adapting her values to the corporate level would require compromise, strategy, and careful demonstration of impact. She left the meeting feeling a mixture of triumph and caution, knowing that every small victory would bring her closer to transforming the company's culture on a grander scale. With support from HR, Liz launched a new initiative called the Fidelity Trust Leadership Academy, a program designed to cultivate leadership skills among employees at all levels. Her vision was to empower emerging leaders with the tools they needed to inspire others, emphasizing values like respect, integrity, and empathy. The academy included workshops, mentorship sessions, and courses on communication, conflict resolution, and team building. Liz reached out to Eva, who had excelled in her own leadership journey, to serve as one of the academy's mentors. Eva eagerly accepted, thrilled by the opportunity to guide others as Liz had guided her. During the academy's inaugural session, Liz addressed a group of new leaders, her eyes shining with pride. "Leadership isn't about titles or authority," she began, her voice steady and sincere. "It's about serving others, lifting them up, and creating an environment where everyone can thrive. Each of you has the potential to make a difference, not just in your branch, but in the lives of every person you lead." The participants listened intently, and as Liz looked around the room, she saw the same eagerness in their eyes that she'd once seen in her own team. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she was planting seeds of change that would grow long after she had retired. The demands of her executive role took a toll on Liz's personal life. She found herself working late nights and traveling frequently, her time with family and friends dwindling. Her close friend Jessica noticed the strain, inviting her for coffee one weekend to catch up and share some words of encouragement. "Liz, you've done incredible work," Jessica said, her tone gentle. "But don't forget to take care of yourself. You've always been about balance and harmony. Make sure you keep some of that for yourself." Liz nodded, feeling the truth of Jessica's words. She had poured so much of herself into her work, but she couldn't ignore the cost. Later that evening, she reflected on her journey, questioning whether she was prepared to continue at this pace. The work was rewarding, but it was also all-consuming. After much soul-searching, Liz decided to step back slightly, delegating certain responsibilities and establishing firmer boundaries around her time. She knew that if she wanted to continue leading with integrity, she needed to protect her well-being. With a renewed sense of clarity, she resumed her work, determined to achieve her goals without sacrificing her own happiness. A few months later, Liz faced one of her most significant challenges yet. A proposed merger with a larger financial institution, Universal Capital, threatened to disrupt Fidelity Trust's values and operations. The merger promised increased resources but came with a risk: the potential erosion of the culture Liz had worked so hard to cultivate. In a high-stakes board meeting, Liz voiced her concerns. While this merger could bring financial growth, we need to consider how it will impact our employees and customers. Fidelity Trust's strength lies in our commitment to service and community. If we move forward, we must ensure that these values remain central to our identity. Some board members agreed, while others were more focused on the financial benefits. Liz found herself in the difficult position of advocating for culture over profit, knowing that her stance might not be popular. After hours of deliberation, the board ultimately decided to proceed with the merger. However, they granted Liz authority to lead a task force focused on preserving Fidelity Trust's core values throughout the transition. It wasn't the outcome she had hoped for, but Liz saw it as an opportunity to protect what mattered most. As the merger with Universal Capital progressed, Liz dedicated herself to ensuring that Fidelity Trust's culture remained intact. She implemented a series of culture workshops at newly integrated branches, inviting employees from both organizations to come together and discuss their shared values. One workshop was particularly emotional, with employees from both companies openly expressing their fears and hopes for the future. Liz listened with empathy, addressing concerns with patience and honesty. "Change is difficult," she acknowledged, her tone gentle yet firm. "But I believe we can create a new chapter together, one that respects the history of both organizations. This merger is a chance for us to learn from each other, to build something that's stronger because of our differences." Her words resonated, and as the workshops continued, employees began to embrace the merger's possibilities. Liz's leadership helped foster a sense of unity, allowing Fidelity Trust and Universal Capital to come together with a renewed sense of purpose. Months after the merger was finalized, Fidelity Trust held its annual leadership summit. Liz was invited as the keynote speaker, an honor that reflected her impact on the organization. Standing before hundreds of employees, she felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here. In her speech, Liz reflected on the values that had guided her. "Over the years, I've learned that true leadership is about service, empathy, and integrity. It's about creating an environment where people feel seen, heard, and respected. And it's about standing up for those values, even when it's challenging." The audience listened in silence, captivated by Liz's words. When she finished, they rose in a standing ovation, a testament to the respect and admiration she had earned. A year after the merger, Liz made the bittersweet decision to retire. She felt that her work was complete, her vision realized, and she was ready to embrace a new chapter in her life. Fidelity Trust held a farewell celebration in her honor, attended by colleagues, friends, and former employees from across the country. Eva, now a respected leader herself, spoke on behalf of the team. "Liz, you taught us that leadership is more than making decisions. It's about inspiring others to be their best. You changed this company and you changed us. Thank you." Liz's heart swelled as she looked out at the faces of those she had led, each one a reminder of the impact she had made. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her legacy would live on in the values and culture she had cultivated. In her retirement, Liz found joy in simpler pursuits, spending time with family, volunteering at local nonprofits, and mentoring young professionals who sought her guidance. She remained connected to Fidelity Trust, occasionally returning for guest lectures and mentorship programs. One evening, as Liz reflected on her journey, she felt a sense of peace. She had dedicated her life to building a culture of respect, integrity, and unity, and her efforts had left a lasting mark on Fidelity Trust. Her quiet revolution had become a legacy, one that would inspire future generations of leaders. Liz knew that true success wasn't measured in titles or accolades, but in the lives she had touched and the positive change she had created. And as she looked back on her journey, she felt nothing but gratitude for the opportunity to lead with purpose and compassion. Despite Liz's successes, not everyone was eager to embrace her changes. In her new executive role, Liz encountered subtle resistance from some leaders who were comfortable with the established ways. Many of these executives valued profit above all else, and Liz's emphasis on employee wellness, customer satisfaction, and ethical integrity challenged that focus. During a monthly strategy meeting, Liz proposed expanding the employee mentorship program across all branches, hoping to foster a more supportive workplace culture. She outlined her vision, explaining how mentorship would improve employee retention and morale, directly impacting the quality of service provided to customers. Yet, some executives remained skeptical. One of her colleagues, Arthur Denton, a veteran of the company, leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "Liz, I understand the intention here, but is this really worth the investment? We're talking about extra resources, additional training hours. Why not focus on initiatives that drive more immediate revenue?" Liz kept her tone calm, though she could feel the tension in the room. "Arthur, the data shows that employees who feel supported are more engaged and productive. By building a culture where people are empowered, we're creating long-term value that will benefit both our employees and customers." Arthur shrugged, clearly unconvinced. "Maybe in theory, but let's not lose sight of the bottom line." Liz held his gaze steadily. "Our bottom line improves when our employees thrive. Happy, well-trained employees lead to satisfied customers, and satisfied customers lead to sustainable growth. This isn't just theory. It's a proven path to long-term success." Though she didn't convince everyone in the room, Liz felt a quiet triumph. She had planted a seed of change, and as the meeting continued, a few executives began to echo her sentiments, recognizing the merit in her approach. After several months of corporate meetings and strategic planning, Liz decided to spend time in the field, visiting branches across the country. She wanted to understand the impact of her initiatives directly from the employees who worked on the front lines. As she traveled, she was struck by the variety of experiences she encountered. Each branch had its own unique personality, shaped by its location, customers, and staff. At a branch in a small coastal town, Liz met Maria Lopez, a branch manager who had implemented the mentorship program and noticed a positive shift in her team's morale. Maria, a soft-spoken but passionate leader, shared her story with Liz over a cup of coffee in the break room. "Liz, before the mentorship program, we had high turnover," Maria said, her expression thoughtful. "People came and went because they felt overwhelmed or disconnected. But now, with mentorship, our newer team members feel supported, and the more experienced employees have a renewed sense of purpose. It's made a huge difference." Liz smiled, feeling both pride and relief. "That's exactly what I hoped for. Thank you for sharing this, Maria. It's leaders like you who bring these ideas to life." As Liz visited other branches, she saw similar results. Employees shared stories of how the new initiatives had improved their work experience, deepened their sense of belonging, and renewed their dedication to fidelity trust. Liz felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that her vision was having a tangible, positive impact on the people who made the company thrive. Back at headquarters, Liz faced a new dilemma. A proposal had been submitted to streamline branch operations by introducing AI-driven customer service, which would replace several in-branch teller positions with automated kiosks. While the proposal promised cost savings, Liz worried about the impact on employee morale and the personal touch Fidelity Trust's customers valued. In a boardroom discussion, Liz voiced her concerns, standing up for the employees and the customers who cherished face-to-face interactions. "Technology is a powerful tool, and I'm all for efficiency," Liz began, her voice measured. "But our customers rely on the personal relationships they have with our tellers. Replacing those interactions with machines could damage the trust we've built." Several executives shifted uncomfortably, while others looked at her with raised eyebrows. Linda Moore, a proponent of the new proposal, replied with a sharp tone. "Liz, we need to stay competitive. The industry is moving toward automation, and we can't afford to fall behind." Liz took a breath, choosing her words carefully. "We can be innovative without sacrificing our values. Maybe we can find a middle ground, introduce kiosks to handle routine transactions but keep tellers available for more personalized services. Let's use technology to support our employees, not replace them." After a lengthy debate, the board agreed to pilot the hybrid model Liz suggested, maintaining a balance between automation and human interaction. Though it was a compromise, Liz felt it was a win for the values she held dear. Liz's commitment to nurturing leaders across Fidelity Trust led her to revisit the leadership academy she'd established during her regional role. She wanted the academy to be accessible to employees from all backgrounds, giving everyone a chance to develop their leadership skills. During a leadership workshop, Liz met Reggie Thompson, a young, ambitious analyst with a talent for strategic thinking. Reggie was passionate but lacked confidence, often doubting his potential despite his clear talent. In a one-on-one conversation, Liz encouraged him, sharing her own journey and the struggles she had faced. Reggie, leadership isn't about knowing everything. It's about resilience, integrity, and staying true to your values, even when it's difficult. You have a gift for seeing the big picture, and I believe in your potential. Reggie looked at her, visibly moved. Thank you, Ms. Walker. I needed to hear that. Sometimes it's hard to believe in myself, but your story inspires me. Liz felt a surge of pride, knowing she had helped Reggie take a step toward his future. Mentoring emerging leaders like Reggie reminded her of the impact one person could have, and she was determined to empower more employees to believe in their own potential. As her work continued, Liz found herself increasingly stretched thin. The demands of her role often took her away from family gatherings, weekends with friends, and the quiet moments of rest she had once cherished. Her close friend Jessica noticed the strain and reached out with gentle concern. Liz, you've given so much to Fidelity Trust, Jessica said over dinner one evening. But remember, it's okay to step back sometimes. You don't have to do it all yourself. Liz smiled, grateful for Jessica's words. I know, Jess. It's just, I care about this work so much. Sometimes it feels like a part of me. Jessica nodded, understanding. Just don't lose sight of yourself in the process. You've always believed in balance, and I think it's time to bring some of that back into your life. After their conversation, Liz began setting firmer boundaries around her work hours, delegating more responsibilities to her team. It was a difficult shift, but she knew that in order to lead sustainably, she needed to prioritize her own well-being. With her team's support, she found a balance that allowed her to continue her mission without sacrificing her personal life. One evening, as Liz reviewed her emails, she came across a letter from Mia Sanders, a teller she had met during one of her branch visits. The letter was heartfelt, expressing gratitude for the mentorship programs and values Liz had championed. Ms. Walker, Mia wrote, you probably don't remember me, but I met you during one of your visits. I wanted you to know that your words changed my life. Because of the mentorship program you introduced, I've decided to pursue a career in management. You've shown me that a good leader cares, listens, and inspires others to be their best. Thank you for showing us that it's possible to lead with heart. As Liz read Mia's words, tears welled in her eyes. She realized that the work she had poured her heart into was resonating with people on a deeply personal level. The letter was a reminder of why she had taken on this journey in the first place, to inspire others and create a culture of respect and empowerment. As Liz's tenure at Fidelity Trust began to wind down, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. Her initiatives had taken root, transforming branches and inspiring employees across the company. From the quiet changes at her original branch to the large-scale cultural shifts at the corporate level, her vision had become a part of Fidelity Trust's identity. At her retirement celebration, executives, employees, and colleagues gathered to honor her achievements. Eva and Amy attended, both now respected leaders, and shared stories of how Liz had inspired them. Former men's like Reggie and Mia spoke of how her guidance had changed their lives, each story a testament to Liz's impact. As Liz took the stage to give her final speech, she looked out at the audience, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. When I started this journey, I never imagined it would lead here, Liz began, her voice filled with emotion. But along the way, I learned that true success isn't about personal achievements. It's about lifting others, creating a community, and leading with compassion. I'm deeply honored to have shared this journey with all of you. My hope is that the values we've built together will continue to guide Fidelity Trust for generations to come. The audience rose in a standing ovation, and as Liz stepped down, she knew that her legacy was secure. Fidelity Trust would carry forward her vision of respect, empathy, and unity, and she felt a profound sense of peace, knowing she had left her mark in a way that would endure. After Liz's retirement, Fidelity Trust saw a wave of promotions and new hires as the company continued to grow. Among those moving up were familiar faces: Eva, now managing a branch in a major city; Reggie, leading a team in strategic planning; and Mia, promoted to an assistant branch manager. The mentorship and leadership programs Liz had championed were now deeply embedded in Fidelity Trust's culture. Eva often led workshops for new managers, encouraging them to approach leadership with the same compassion and integrity Liz had taught her. Reggie worked with branch leaders to create customer-first policies, while Mia championed employee wellness initiatives inspired by Liz's emphasis on balance and support. During one of their quarterly leadership meetings, Eva, Reggie, and Mia shared stories of Liz's impact. They laughed about the moments they'd spent under her guidance, the lessons she'd imparted, and the stories she'd told them about her own journey. "Liz used to tell me that leadership isn't about the loudest voice in the room," Reggie said, smiling at the memory. "It's about listening and helping others reach their potential." She didn't just say it, she lived it. Eva nodded, her face filled with admiration. "I'll never forget what she told me on the day I became a branch manager." She said, "Leadership is about building people up, not breaking them down." I remind myself of that every day. The group raised a toast to Liz, each silently grateful for the way her mentorship had shaped their lives. Through them, Liz's values continued to inspire a new generation, her legacy alive in the hearts and minds of those she had guided. Several months after her retirement, Liz was enjoying a quiet afternoon at her favorite cafe when she was approached by a young woman with a familiar name badge: Samantha Johnson, a newly hired teller at Fidelity Trust. "Ms. Walker," Samantha asked, her voice tentative. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to thank you." Liz smiled, setting down her cup. "Thank me? I don't believe we've met." Samantha laughed, a bit embarrassed. "We haven't, but your story is well known at Fidelity Trust. You're a legend. The way you transformed the company, the values you stood for. It's why I applied." Liz felt a mixture of surprise and gratitude. She hadn't realized that her story had reached new heights, that the principles she'd fought for had become so integral to the company's identity. "Thank you, Samantha," Liz replied warmly. "I'm honored. Fidelity Trust is a wonderful place, and I hope you feel as supported and inspired as I did." Samantha nodded, her eyes filled with admiration. "People talk about you in the branch like you're still there, guiding us. I just wanted to say that you made a difference." As Samantha walked away, Liz felt a quiet sense of joy. She had left her mark in ways she hadn't anticipated, and it was a comforting reminder that the work she had done would continue to inspire others long after her departure. A year after Liz's retirement, Eva organized a small reunion for some of Liz's closest colleagues and mentor. They gathered at a local restaurant, sharing laughter, stories, and memories from their time together at Fidelity Trust. Eva, Amy, Reggie, Mia, and a few other familiar faces had come to honor Liz and reflect on the lessons they'd learned under her guidance. As the group reminisced, Amy raised her glass, her voice filled with genuine admiration. "Liz, you didn't just change a branch, you changed our lives. I never thought I'd be so grateful for change, but you showed me how powerful it could be." The group toasted to Liz, each reflecting on the moments that had shaped their own paths. Liz felt a swell of pride, her heart full as she saw the friendships, mentorships, and mutual respect that had grown out of their shared journey. Eva leaned over with a smile, her eyes twinkling. "We're all here because of you, Liz. You taught us to believe in ourselves, to lead with kindness, and to never forget the people we serve." The reunion left Liz with a deep sense of fulfillment. She had come into Fidelity Trust with the goal of fostering respect and unity, and seeing her former team carry those values forward was the ultimate reward. One morning, Liz received an official letter from Fidelity Trust CEO, Robert Hayes, thanking her for her years of service and inviting her to attend a special ceremony. The company planned to name a new community initiative in her honor, a testament to her impact on both Fidelity Trust and the communities it served. At the ceremony, Robert spoke about Liz's journey, her unwavering dedication, and her commitment to fostering an environment of respect and compassion. Liz Walker didn't just work here. She built a foundation of trust and integrity that will guide us for generations. Her legacy is a reminder that true leadership is about serving others and creating a sense of belonging. As Liz stood to accept a commemorative plaque, the audience applauded, filled with gratitude and admiration. She took a moment to absorb the significance of the recognition, knowing that her work had been seen and valued. With humility and grace, she thanked the company, her former colleagues, and everyone who had supported her journey. "I'm deeply honored," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "My hope is that Fidelity Trust will continue to be a place where every employee feels respected, every customer feels valued, and every person is given a chance to grow." In her final chapter at Fidelity Trust, Liz took time to reflect on the incredible journey she had traveled. She had begun with a simple vision, to create a culture of respect and unity, and had watched that vision come to life in ways she could never have anticipated. Her life's work had transformed not only a branch but an entire organization. In the years that followed, Liz continued her journey of service. She volunteered with local nonprofits, mentoring young professionals and helping organizations cultivate respectful and empowering workplaces. She stayed in touch with her former team, providing guidance and encouragement as they continued their own leadership journeys. One evening, as Liz watched the sunset from her front porch, she felt a profound sense of peace. She had poured her heart into her work, and the love and respect she had given had returned to her many times over. Her quiet revolution had become a legacy, one that would endure through the values and principles she had instilled at Fidelity Trust. As the last rays of sunlight faded, Liz felt a deep gratitude for the journey she had traveled, the lives she had touched, and the community she had built. She knew that the legacy of respect, integrity, and unity would continue to inspire future generations, a testament to the power of leading with compassion. Her work was complete, her journey fulfilled. And as Liz Walker looked toward the future, she knew that her story would live on in the people and the values she had so lovingly nurtured. Years after Liz's retirement, Fidelity Trust remained a leader in customer service and employee satisfaction, with branches across the country embodying her values. New hires learned about Liz Walker during their orientation, inspired by her story and the culture she had created. Eva and Amy continued mentoring others, passing down the wisdom Liz had shared with them. Employees like Reggie and Mia moved up in the company, each determined to honor Liz's legacy by leading with compassion and respect. At Fidelity Trust's annual leadership summit, a keynote speaker quoted Liz's famous words, "True leadership is about lifting others, creating community, and standing by your values, even when it's challenging." The audience nodded in agreement, reminded of the woman whose vision had transformed the company. Liz Walker's legacy was alive in the spirit of every branch, every employee, and every customer who felt the warmth of her influence. Fidelity Trust had become more than a financial institution. It was a community, a place where people mattered, a place where respect and integrity guided every interaction. And as long as those values endured, Liz's quiet revolution would continue, inspiring others to lead with heart, with purpose, and with an unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. If you enjoyed following Liz's journey of transformation and leadership, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We share inspiring stories just like this one, highlighting the power of resilience, compassion, and positive change. By subscribing, you'll never miss a new story that could bring fresh perspective and motivation to your day. Hit that bell icon too, so you'll be notified whenever we upload more content designed to inspire and uplift. Thank you for being part of our community, and remember, every act of kindness and leadership, big or small, can make a lasting impact. Subscribe now and join us on the journey.